board and saw they were in a huge deficit against some of the smaller teams. And that's what we want to see here on the Elite Series broadcast, because that would mean 7am maybe goes to a 2-2 and takes a game of the favorites to take the entire group and to be first. Because let's be honest, FUT Esports is expected to go 6-0 in this group. So the team that takes a game of them instantly get way better chances to actually get into knockouts, just because it should be impossible to win a game against FUT.
But looking at both groups from 7am, I think I do feel like 7am's group is a bit harder on paper. Of course, you have FUT in there, but also Entropic, who is a very solid team, and we already saw them dismantle 7am earlier on yesterday. FUT are standing on a ward. You can already see Julbu looking for something. The hook does land.
It's a dead sentence, and it's actually followed because they have the Glacial Augment. The slow is going to be there for Kaori as well. Julbu is already there, and they just want to trade with Kingpin, but I don't know if they can get first blood. Kaori gets the first blood. That was a bit awkward for the side of 7am. Should have been a free kill. Now you trade AD for support. Technically that's okay, but the lane is not even in position yet to actually get an advantage out of it.
I mean, this is kind of worth it for now for FUT, as long as they can stay alive in the laning phase, because they have no summoner spells left. But Kaori actually goes back to base, gets another longsword, 4 potions as well in his inventory, so he will be sustaining throughout this lane. But on the other hand, you have both Flicker, both summoner spells available, and the Hex Flash from Kingpin.
What we need to track right now is Mojito will probably need to cover this bot side, but due to Kaori dying and getting that extra longsword, the fact that they had that one summoner of heal on Asper made a huge difference in that 2v3, and now it's actually a winning lane for FUT, as long as they don't get instantly ganked again by Julbu, because Kaori has no flash, no cleanse, there's no heal on Asper, so they can't really save the Xayah if there's ever a fight to break out. But the Xayah is a longsword, 4 potions, and the cookie. So if it's just a 2v2, you can't really beat the damage output and sustain they have on that lane, and that is going to be really hard for 7am to deal with.
You already see Mojito in the vicinity. Hook does land, but this is not a good timing for Team 7am, as level 2 is gets hit by football lane. Kingpin in a lot of trouble. He will go down. Another kill donated, most likely to Kaori. Maybe the Red Buff takes it. No, it's Kaori with 2 kills on the board, 2.5 minutes into the game.
And that's the sad part, because this is something that happened a lot to 7am in the first day already.
Starscreen.
Zergot in a rough trade, flashes out after he proxies Conqueror, and that means that Starscreen now has the upper hand in that 1v1. So the last glimmer of hope we had was that top side for Zergot. That went way better in the last game against FUT. That's gone as well. And no more silver linings for the Benelux, because even in the bot lane, Cleanse is popped for Flicker because Kaori and Asper found the play. And the sad part is that the bot side of 7am was a huge issue in day 1. You said like, okay, there were fixable things, there were small mistakes that could be amended in day 2. Well, day 2 starts out just in the same fashion.
And it feels like FUT is just more awake than they were the last time they faced Team 7am, more aware of what Team 7am wants to do. And even when 7am brings the fight to them from that level 1, oh, Julbu finds Starscreen, but that's a rel. It's not a lot of inherent damage.
But a bit too tanky maybe for the Renekton to actually fight. He does go for the re-engage because the Maokai is close, and makes it so that Julbu is a bit lower when he goes for his clear. Now,
but that's good news for a bot lane for FUT, when now they can just completely push in the wave. Flicker already used his cleanse, has no health potions left. And with Starscreen keeping Julbu on the top side of the map, they had so much free time to almost even get a plate. I don't know if they actually got it, but it might even be close. And those minions that are being pushed in right now, Flicker will miss a lot of them because he has to base. So this is just a solid start from FUT.
Yeah, this is what we expect to see from them. Sadly for 7am, they didn't really find an opportunity to have a counterplay. Flash out for Mojito, so the dead sentence is last, and he actually goes for the re-engage. Tempt could be faster on the play here, but Lantern should give safety to Kingpin and Julbu. Good play for 7am to disengage there. If you look at the composition as well for 7am, they do have a slower start. They have an Aphelios Azir. They're waiting for 1 and 2 items on those carries. They maybe wanted to play around top side, but instantly invested a lot of time in bot side and lost out on those trades. So now the more aggressive composition of FUT is already online. Looking at gold, they're almost 1k up right now at 4 minutes 48 seconds in game. And with 2 kills against 1 and both those kills being on Xayah, it can get really dicey for 7am.
He was looking for an opportunity to flash it and test the rolls mechanics.
Should have been safe with the shield of the E alone, because there is no ignite on Tempt.
There is like a small window where you can try it and just burst before he can actually react to it, but the reaction speed from a roll should be good enough. to counter that. But he's missing out a lot of CS in the 1v1 in mid lane. That is without interaction from the junglers, if I'm not mistaken. So that is just a very solid laning phase from Tempt.
We saw it briefly when the wave was crashed on their tower. He missed a lot of last hits. Zergoth trading over onto Starscream, but don't forget he is still flashless in that matchup, so he can't take too much. He can't really go forward for that play. And with Starscream already picking up the call, he said he was winning his lane already. Dominus is actually on level 6 for Starscream. That's a solo kill. And now the tables are completely turned because that's what Zergoth did to Starscream last time. But now it's Starscream dishing out the damage, dishing out the kills and getting the lead.
Still, that's how the matchup goes. Renekton should win that out, especially when it gets level 6 before Zergoth is even close to it. So a little bit of disrespect maybe on the side of Zergoth, thinking he could be the better one in the matchup, as Errol just completely misses the Emperor's Divide, and that is bad news for 7M. It feels like they have a lot of stress, and if you look at the goal lead, it's already 2k up for FUT for the Turkish representative. And for Team 7M, they have to stall out this game, because of course they have a lot of good scaling. They have a Philios, they have a Zir, but that is where FUT will give them no room, as they already start the Dragon off 6.5 minutes into the game. Most likely also looking for the Rift Herald when it spawns to accelerate some of these goal leads.
Without the ulti, Errol is way less safe in that 1v1. You don't even need to wait for shurikens to hit to be able to counter the disengage, because the disengage isn't even there. You also lack some damage. You can't really put Tempt under the tower when he aggresses forward, and that's why you see Tempt playing forward with his expendable resource, that is the energy bar he has. He can just constantly harass Errol in that 1v1.
Still level
2
5.
levels down, didn't hit level 6 because not enough minions died around him, and he needs Yulbu to be there so he can push out this wave, hit level 6 and maybe have some pressure against Starscream. But it's not enough for Yulbu to just be here, because Zergoth actually needs to hit that level 6 and they need to clear out the entire wave. He's so far behind.
Starscream is still walking up, and Zergoth only now hits level 6. And that is with a lot of shared experience. Flicker in the ball lane has to flash away. Gary still has the ultimate.
With the ulti, chasing for the kill. Not enough damage, not quite there. And Kingpin might be able to get out with the flash. 7am by the skin of their teeth survived the bot side gank.
It was close.
Gank play, 2v2.
It was just a 2v2. It's without the interaction of the junglers, who are currently covering their solo laners. Not that like Starscream needs any, because he's been winning out in a 1v1, and even when Julbo is on the top side of the map, he just takes that 1v2.
I don't think any of the solo laners of FUT are in trouble. More or less, they're just completely winning out. Okay, death sentence from Kingpin on their tower, but there's a cleanse, there's a bailout. I don't know what you're trying to do there. FUT doesn't know either, but they take the free kill.
And the free blue buff. This is going to be a smite fight. It is won by Julbu, but it's a small victory. When the bot lane from FUT can just interact like that in between two towers, you already know it's a disaster for 7M on the bot side of the map, and that is most the same as it went the last time those teams faced off. Because even though they got the Kalista and the Rel, if I'm not mistaken, they still lost the 2v2. They still had some mistakes, and it was just outplay by Kaori and Asper, as we've seen from the start of this game again.
And also the Aatrox versus Renekton trade didn't really pan out in the way 7am wanted to. The Aatrox is not only 20 CS plus behind, but he can still catch this wave, hopefully. He's also 2 levels down, and that makes it really hard to play in this lane state. Starscream proccing his stacks there on the tower, making sure that he can play for a second plate in the future. And the cannon goes awry for Zergoth. So I think stress is getting too much of these 7am players. We've seen a lot of small mistakes they aren't really making locally, because there they know they're the better team. Now up against FUT, they get inside their own head maybe a bit too much.
This is such a dangerous dive. Curry has no ultimate, but they have the bailout. A good hook to start it on Asper, even Ignites goes down, but then there is the counter ultimate, and now Julbu might be in trouble, has to flash out, doesn't even take the lantern. And the bot lane from FUT make it seem easy.
There wasn't clean communication there. Julbu is overstaying to clear a ward. Look at the rotation. This is going to be a free kill for the Akali if he finds the Rel. Rel tries to get over the wall. Good shuriken flip. Good cancel though with the stun. But it doesn't really matter when the perfect execution comes out. And it's so easy. FUT makes it look easy. But it's also 7M trying to find plays, but always doing it halfway there. Mojito with the ulti should be able to take the kill here at Zergoth. And that's 2 quick kills for the side of FUT.
Pure domination from the Turkish seat, as they also picked up the Rift Herald off screen. Most likely will use it for either Kaori or Tempt to even get further ahead of the curve. And if you look at those CS leads, it's insane. How you can do this in Akali Azir matchup, this isn't supposed to be the way it goes.
Yeah,
Earl
you're
should
supposed
be...
to have the kill pressure from level 6
You should have kill
onwards,
pressure, but I don't think that Earl should miss out on so many CS in a 1v1. And that's not to put blame on Earl. On the other hand, I would just praise Tempt even more for knowing the matchup, for knowing what he can do. And of course, we are only the Benelux, facing off against the region that previously won it, as Earl finds a good shove
back. Yulbu is there with the Magnet Storm, and they now have a lockdown on Tempt, but Tempt still has his flash, just flashes to safety. Needs to get out of dodge now in the enemy jungle, with Zergot not really rotating towards the place. There's going to be 2 guys hunting down Tempt, making sure that he at least doesn't get to execute, but it's going to take a while for Yulbu to actually hunt down Tempt and get the kill. So it's kind of...
He has to hit this Q. Oh, he misses. Maybe a basic attack. Maybe even goes to Flicker. That's a good shutdown.
I mean, we take those. Like, you need to take whatever you can get. You're still 1k gold behind against your opposition in the Xayah Aphelios matchup, but at least you got 300 gold extra from backing, and it was a base that was already forced because they get shoved out of the tower range so hard. All the plates are going to FUT in the bot side though, so it doesn't really make a difference gold-wise. In general, FUT is still in the lead, and that lead is only expanding. The only difference is that Flicker might be able to get to that second item a bit faster, and that the gold resources in 7am, even though they're limited, and really limited at that, they are distributed in a better way.
That is something that 7am was managing to do in their previous first one game. They were set behind in the early game, but their carries were keeping up in the item department. Currently, you see both Flicker and Kaori.
Sadly, that's not what we're seeing right now at all, because they're 5k gold behind.
Yeah, but there is still a Kraken Slayer versus Kraken Slayer, and of course there's more longswords in Kaori's inventory. And Flicker hasn't managed to upgrade his boots, but at least when a team fight breaks out, the damage should be equal. But then you have the Xayah with the feathers that just does more. And he could even tank a lot of those engages with the Feather Storm, which makes it so hard for 7am to actually press on in team fights, because they have to go through so many cooldowns of FUT. And even when you manage to get on Tempt or even Kaori, there is still the bailout from Asper, where you have to fight again through a Grey Hell bar, which is not an easy task for Team 7am.
It's something that seems more than impossible. Kingpin got caught out. He has flash, but I don't think he's gonna invest. Oh, he actually invested it, flashed over the wall. Mojito just follows, and now Flicker needs to dish out the damage, but Kaori still has the safety of the ulti. So sadly, it's a flash for flash, but Mojito will take those any time of the day.
They are even using Rift Herald, not even on a turret that has turret plates. But oh, Mojito, let's be careful. He's taking the turret.
He's tanking turret, actually. Really came close to dying there. Flicker only had a little bit more left in his arsenal to fight back, but sadly in a 3v1 with a Rift Herald spawn, it's almost impossible for him to walk up, and it's FUT just putting the pedal to the metal, playing forward and making sure that 7am can't really find an inkling back in this game.
Needs to back off. This turret will die. But Julbu is close by, and they want to fight this, but I don't think you win this.
I don't know if you win this. You're still 2 levels down as Zergot. Starscreen, he just dashes out with slice and dice.
So easy.
Clears the entire wave. They need a roll to arrive. Magnet Storm, 3v1. What can Starscreen do? A lot of healing on the Cold and Meek. And now the re-engage comes out from 7am. They're all in melee range against the Renekton. They even send over Kingpin, but finally they take the shutdown. I don't know if it's worth it investing so much time and losing a tower, but it's something for 7am.
And Julbu even has to flash out Tempt.
Oh,
does he
no,
find
now
Zergot? He does.
Oh, that's a kill. Yep. So it's definitely not worth it by now. Now we just wasted time and gave a kill over to the Akali as well. So yeah.
And you even get to push in the mid lane. Kaori and Asper are doing a lot of work on this map. And within 3 minutes there is a soul point already for the Turkish team. So this is pure domination, and this is a showing to the rest of the group. FUT is here to win it all and to go undefeated. Julbu just dies under his own turret. There is nowhere to go for him. He used that flash earlier on the top exchange, but
the painful part is just they make it look so easy.
Exactly.
It looks like it's a scrim game gone bad, and then you realize that for the players of 7am,
yeah, but if a scrim game goes bad, you just pause it, you remake. Yeah, that's not a possibility.
That's what I was going to. Like for 7am, this is one of the biggest games of their career for a lot of those players. I mean, Flicker comes in, he really wants to level up as a player. He's a mechanically gifted AD carry, but he just doesn't even get to play the game because now he just gets outplayed in a 2v2 along with Kingpin. Kingpin, one of the best supports we have in the Elite late series, they look like they're just pushovers, and that's something that's really painful for these players because they know all eyes are on them, and I think that's getting to them a bit too much, where they know they don't really stand a chance, that FUT might be way too strong for them, but if you play with that mentality and then try to make the plays, let's be honest, only on 50 or 60% of your capacity, then you just get ran over by FUT that have way more experience, way higher level of play, and you're not really posing them any questions, you're not really posing them any threats, and you just make it easier for them to walk over you.
So about keeping up with items, Kaoru is almost on his mythic item.
I gave up that hope ages ago. Like when you were talking about it, I was like, yeah, but Kaori he's probably just waiting for the BF sword and almost already has it.
On the other hand, Flicker hasn't died yet, so the roll also deadless. So as long as they
It's
stay
something.
alive and they get some experience going.
It's something, but is it enough? If you can you just use the Maokai like
it's
this?
not enough to go over this goal lead. I mean, it's almost a 10k at this point, and it's only second Rift Herald spawning. And 1 minute for Soul Point for FUT. And that is only 70 minutes into the game being on Soul Point. It's a very solid early game from FUT, now transitioning into the mid game.
And the first day we could be like, okay, but blue side is broken. We got our win on blue side. So maybe by the end of the day we can win on blue side again. Sadly, 7M didn't win on blue side against FUT, and now it's FUT showing that, okay, maybe blue side is broken, but it's just not strong enough for you guys to beat us. Or at least that's what my Hopium and Copium is telling me right now as a Benelux enjoyer, because they're 10k gold behind.
If you just switch the composition, it looks like the FUT is running a red side composition. And 7M got all the picks they wanted, but just maybe Kingpin could have played something different. The Thresh isn't really showing.
He just stood behind 7AM. They didn't really realize Tempt is looking for the assassination on Errol. Errol needs to use his ulti for safety, but he mistimes it. Good, perfect execution from Tempt. Now even Yulbo goes berserk, just hits the thing that's nearest to him, which was minions. And being so low on HP, he really can't escape. Kaori here is already dabbing on Yulbo, making sure he can confirm that kill under the tower. And then the rest of 7AM is going to die because Tempt just TP'd in. He's done with this game. He wants to look towards the knockout stage, and he wants to look past 7AM. And how easy do they make it look? Because it's already 13-3 in kills. They don't even need to play for Dragon. They get 4 kills first, and then they take Soul Point.
And only Zergot alive, but he has to back. Nowhere is safe on the map, especially when FUT calls in a TP from Tempt to really seal the deal, get Soul Point. And I would imagine that they can just start the Baron on spawn and just bait another team fight.
Into desperate play territory. Double TP behind Kaori. That's a huge shutdown, but Kaori already ran around Errol and Zergot. Now Errol will face check into Kaori. It's a 1v1, he can't really win. He needs Zergot to be there, but Kaori just flashes over the wall. He has a red buff, he has the slows, and in the 1v2 he will probably make the outplays, uses the ulti, gets Errol, and Zergot gets the shutdown. So in the end, a net positive, because Starscreen TP'd in, but I don't think Zergot is gonna get out, and then it's a 2-for-1, because it's a level 13 Renekton against an ultless Aatrox. That's a 1v1 that's really hard to play. The Lantern from Kingpin and the Great Escape. It's something. Again, we just have to take the silver linings in this game. You get a shutdown, that's worth something.
And since there are so many short-ranged champions on the side of FUT, as we find a re-engage from Julbo, but it just gets completely disengaged from.
And now they can look for the re-engage. Asper and Mojito walking forward. They don't even have their big carries there in position yet, but they have so
I mean, I would say
such a
Starscreen is a big carry at this point.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And the lead is just too insurmountable for 7M right now.
They have to find those desperate plays, as we just saw with double TP, and then even it's so close that they trade 1-for-1. Fortunately, they get the big shutdown on Kaori and his flash. So it is something. You said a net win, but then with the ongoing engage from Starscreen trying to get Zergot back, you had to call in Kingpin, losing CS on someone else on the map because they couldn't be safe walking up. So in the end, FUT still completely in the driver's seat. I mean, this game should be won in any book.
They can just dive here. Zergot doesn't have flash, doesn't even get to click the Lantern. Kingpin with the deck sentence, trying to save his top laner, who's now berserk and hunting down Kingpin, but he was already shut down by Kaori. Huge ulti from Flicker there to buy some time. Yulbo with the re-engage. One reset for Zergot. Maybe they can turn this fight on its head, but FUT, between two towers, they keep their cool. They just play it out safely, get the kill, and get out.
Look at the goal lead. I don't want to be desperate, but it's
negative
looking,
Nelly.
Yeah, it's looking really bad for Team 7M, but it's looking really good for FUT. Of course, it's only their first game of 3 today.
They aren't certain of knockouts yet if they win this. Let's talk about that then, because they should just win this. I don't see them messing it up anytime soon, and I don't see 7M really getting back into the game anytime soon. If they go 4-0...
I mean, aren't they locking in?
They're not locked in yet, because there's a 2-1 team in the group as well that can still go
but
for
they're
4
locked
wins.
in for
They're locked in for knockouts, not locked in for first place. Yeah.
So they lock knockouts whenever they win this game. And whenever I just mean, just take the last victory lap. Because that is what it feels like. Just needs to happen for FUT. They can start the Baron as they just find Zergot. And he is dead again. He has the Gold Drinker build. That's the point I wanted to make. A lot of melee champions and short range champions on the side of FUT. So a lot of value from the Gold Drinker. But we usually see it with the Duskblade.
We usually see Duskblade lately on the Aatrox. But sadly this game got out of control so fast that I think the Gold Drinker was probably the better buy. And necessary, but sadly not even close to enough. Zergot is down without a TP, so FUT is just playing with their food here around the Baron.
They just need to
you
find
look
a
at
fight.
Tempt, the flank angle is already there, and the fight was already found. Kingpin is the first to fall. He was the front line of 7AM, but he doesn't really have any tank stats to help him out. And when 7AM needs to run away out of their own jungle, they also realize this Baron is gone.
And Tempt just needs to shadow Julbu. He needs to keep finding him and keep him out of the pit. There is a ward in the pit. And that was not swept, but yeah, 5k HP. Julbu, it's your hero moment, but you're not getting even close to the Baron as it's secured by FUT.
And then it's just a free kill for Tempt.
Flicker is on his way, but I don't think he'll do anything. And he just sees his jungler die yet again.
I mean, it's 18-4. We're 21 minutes only in game. You're already 13k up. You also have the Baron. You're looking at a soul point that spawns in 1 minute. You can't really blame Julbu for looking to maybe get into the pit and flip the Baron. He really has to, but at the same time it looks so painful because, you know, A, you're not going to get in there. B, even if you get in there, you probably get bursted instantly and they still take the Baron. And then C, you're just going to die. And that's the sad part of that exchange. Now Tempt, he thinks he... Okay, never mind. I was going to say he thinks he might be in a 1v1 with Zergot. Errol is there.
Yeah, but look at the minimap. Everybody is supporting Tempt, just running it down bot lane. Mojito does not have the blue smite, but is very fast Maokai. And with the speed ups from Asper, he's still trying to find a fight, but 7M has regrouped. 5 players strong.
Errol, he's not safe. He's not safe. Why is Errol walking up there? It's a huge risk to take for a wave state that you can't really manage. And he needs to back now. He realizes he might be overstaying his welcome. And FUT is just taking complete control of the vision in the jungle, so no real aggressive flank TPs can come through. But if you look at what 7M got for themselves in the bot side, is they have deep wards. Maybe with a double TP play, they can look to try to make something happen, but first they're collapsing on the side waves. If everything else fails, maybe we can get Star Screen into the grey screen. Maybe with 4 members strong, we can take him down, but the Renekton is way too tanky. Still has the flash. He procs his defensive ability of the Sterix Gauge, and he just is so tanky that 7AM realizes we're losing our base while we're trying to kill a Renekton, and we don't even get his flash out until the very end.
And now he TPs in. He does not have the flash or dominance, but he is still level 15, and as I said, a meat shield for the team. He can just walk up and zoning a lot of people. But with the amount of minions that were there, they have to wait for the next wave.
They only have Errol's ult. I don't think they're even defending this, and FUT knows that. Flash forward from Asper with the ulti, trying to get onto the back line. Kingpin with a death sentence, buying some time, but the tower is already down. KO did all the damage he needed on that tower, and now it's open Nexus season for FUT. This is the end of the game. Errol trying with the Shurima Shuffle to make a difference. Asper might actually drop, but then we're looking at Flicker. Can he free hit hard enough? No, because FUT is so far ahead. It doesn't really matter what you're doing at 7AM. The only thing that's going to happen is that FUT is going to lock in their knockout stage. I don't know if they're